Beginning. The captive of the empire. They called her Queen Velyara, ruler of the Aetherion Empire, sovereign of 1,000 star systems. Her name was whispered through fleets, spoken like a storm that could burn planets or bless them with light. And I, Captain Rylan Vos, a human from the scattered colonies of Earth's frontier, was her prisoner. It began on Tarkin 9, a desolate mining world caught between rebel forces and the Empire's dominion. My ship, the Resolute, had been delivering aid to surviving colonists when the Aetherion fleet arrived. I remember the light first, vast ships eclipsing the stars like steel gods descending upon dust. We fought. We lost. When I awoke, I was in a crystalline cell aboard the Velysium, her flagship. Its walls shimmered like frozen lightning. Alien runes pulsed with soft, rhythmic energy. And standing beyond the transparent barrier was her, tall, silver-skinned, her eyes glowing violet like molten amethyst. She didn't speak at first. She only watched me, studying, as though searching for a memory buried deep in time. "Human," she said finally, her voice smooth, yet layered with authority that made the air vibrate. "You resisted when others surrendered. You stood alone against my fleet. I could still feel the burns from the crash on my arms. That's what humans do when we don't like being conquered." Her lips curved, not in anger, but in something that looked like faint amusement. "We will see how long that spirit lasts." Middle Part 1. The Queen's Shadow. Days passed. Or maybe weeks. It was hard to tell in the Velysium. Time bent differently there, as if the ship itself was alive. They didn't torture me. Instead, the Queen had me summoned to her throne chamber, an immense space of glass and starlight. The room seemed endless. Constellations flickered beneath transparent floors, and silken banners of light flowed from unseen sources. Velyara sat upon a throne grown from what looked like pure crystal. I was made to kneel. But I didn't. Even if my body trembled under the gravity fields of her throne, I stood straight. "You defy the Queen of 1,000 stars," she said, rising from her seat, her long mantle flowing like liquid night. "Do you understand the punishment for such insolence?" "I understand that I've already lost everything," I replied. "So what's left to take?" Her eyes flickered, curious again. "Everything," she whispered. She approached, slowly, each step echoing like the heartbeat of the universe. She reached out, her hand inches from my face, as if measuring me. But then she paused. Something in her expression changed. "You," she murmured. "Your face. I have seen it before." Middle Part 2. The Memory of Fire. That night, I was taken to the observation deck, a transparent dome overlooking the nebula fields. I thought it was another trick. Another way to show me how small I was against her empire. But then she came. No guards. No crown. Just her. "The Aetherion Empire once fought on a world your kind called Idros. 4, she said, her voice softer now. "It was not a victory I am proud of. Millions perished." Her eyes seemed lost in the stars. "One of your kind, a soldier, saved one of my fleet officers that day. She was my sister." And blinked. "Your sister?" "Yes. She was trapped beneath the ruins when your forces retaliated. She told me later that a human freed her. A wounded soldier with one arm burned beyond recognition. He refused to give his name." Her gaze turned to me, sharp and uncertain. She said he had eyes like stormlight, defiant, unyielding. Cold realization crawled through me. That had been me. Years ago, during the Idros campaign, I had helped an alien officer escape an orbital bombardment zone. I didn't know who she was. I only knew I couldn't leave someone to die. Even an enemy. Velyara studied me as though she already knew my thoughts. You were that man, she said. The human who defied my empire to save my blood. Middle Part 3. Chains and choices. The revelation shifted something between us. My cell was upgraded, my meals no longer rationed paste but warm food. The guards stopped referring to me as Subject 314. They called me Commander Vos again. But the change came with a price. The Queen began to speak with me, night after night, in quiet halls where her empire could not hear. She asked about humanity's stories, our wars, our love, our loss. I told her of Earth, of the oceans that stretched endlessly, of the sky that wasn't metal or energy, just open air and sunlight. She listened, sometimes with silence, sometimes with eyes that shimmered like wet glass. I envy your people, she said one night. You live such brief lives, yet burn so brightly. Maybe that's why, I said. We burn because we know the flame won't last. For the first time I saw her smile, not a regal smirk or cold curve of lips, but something real. Then, one cycle later, everything shattered. The Aetherion High Council declared war on the human frontier. They demanded every captive human, including me, be executed to prevent rebellion. It was her own council's decree. She was torn between duty and something else she could no longer name. Climax. The trial of the Queen. They chained me in the Hall of Verdicts, a vast chamber beneath her throne. Thousands of her species filled the balconies, chanting for judgment. The human, declared her advisor, a being of pure energy named Zever, stands guilty of rebellion and interference. By law, his life is forfeit. The Queen rose. The hall fell silent. Her armor gleamed like a storm of diamonds. Her crown pulsed with radiant light. Yet her eyes, those violet human-like eyes, were shadowed with conflict. I met her gaze one last time. If I'm to die, I said, at least tell them the truth. Tell them their queen once owed her life to a human. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Zever's form brightened, furious. Blasphemy. Lies spoken to sway your majesty's heart. Enough, Velyara said. She descended from her throne. The crowd watched in disbelief as the Queen of 1,000 Stars stood before her captive, her enemy, and raised her hand. Do you know, she said, her voice trembling slightly, what your act cost me, human? He frowned. What do you mean? When you saved my sister, she continued, her tone breaking through centuries of command, you changed the course of the Aetherion destiny. She became a voice of peace, and was silenced because of it. I have carried her death every day. But I never knew the human who gave her the chance to live at all. She turned to her people. This man is no enemy. He is the reason one of our own once saw hope in unity. Majesty, Ever cried. This is heresy. You cannot defy the High Council. Velyara's hand flared with power. Then let them come for me. Ending Part 1. The Fall of 1,000 Stars. The Queen's Act ignited a civil fire across the empire. Fleets fractured. Some remained loyal to her, others to the council. I was hidden aboard one of her personal escorts as the Veligium fled across the void. She had defied her empire for me, and it was tearing her world apart. We found refuge on a dead moon orbiting a violet sun. There, she finally spoke without the weight of her crown. You should hate me, she said. For every human world my armies burned. I don't, I replied. Because I saw something different in you before all this. She looked at me, eyes reflecting the dying light of her empire. What do you see now?